Welcome to Political Musings on this Monday. With me today is Dr. Esther Davis and nominee for U.S. Congressional District 5, Ruth Torres. Welcome to the show, both of you.
Good afternoon.
Ruth, let's start out by you introducing yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and the district you're running for.
Sure. I am Ruth the Truth Torres. I am the Democratic candidate for U.S. Congress Texas District 5, which is the easternmost part of Dallas County. It includes Sunnyvale, Seagoville, Mesquite, Garland, Rowlett, Saxe, and then all of Kaufman County, Henderson County, Kaufman, Henderson, Wood, Van Zant, and half of Upshur. So together, we're going to unseat MAGA insurrectionist Lance Gooden and expand the Democratic footprint here in North Texas. I am proud to be the first woman and the first person of color in this seat in U.S. history when we get everybody to get out and vote. My website is truthincongress.com. I'm on all the social media. So please go ahead and check me out, follow, like, share, all that good stuff. So proud to be here with you today. I'm a human resources consultant by trade. I'm not your typical HR person. So I'm a legal compliance strategy. That's what I do. I'm kind of heavy artillery for businesses who get into major problems. Like they're going to go through a bankruptcy, merger, acquisition. They got hit with class action lawsuits for discrimination, harassment, those types of things. So I'm your, everything's in chaos. You have a lot going on. You need heavy artillery. That's when you call little old 5 foot Ruth the Truth Torres. I turn chaos into order. I get to the root issues and fix things. And we've got a lot of chaos in our political system. And so I am looking to lend my skills and resources to bring progress for the families of the communities of Congressional District 5.
Oh, that's wonderful. Esther, why don't you introduce yourself too?
I have met Ruth a couple of times. How are you? You look great.
Thank you.
And it's good to see you again. And every time you call off all of these names, I think that is such a large area. But it's it's not. It's something you can conquer with a lot of ease. But it's like a U shape. It's like a horseshoe. It's around the peripheral the circumference of the peripheral of Texas. Have you traveled that? How much is your space? How much is your district? How many miles is it?
So it's from one end to the other, it's about 2 hours each way. I have traveled all of it. I'm actually going tomorrow to Henderson County for a debate watch party in Henderson County. I'm going to Athens there's going to be a North Texas rally in Athens. No, Quitman is first. So 914 is Quitman. That's the rally. 921 is a Black Eyed Pea festival with a 5K, and I'll be in Athens 921. But while it is a big district, please keep in mind, I'm going to everybody because everybody is important to me. The votes, 67% of the population of voters for this district is in this little piece of Dallas County.
Okay.
If this Dallas County and Kaufman County, which is the fastest growing in the entire country, comes in second. So between Dallas, that little piece of Dallas County and Kaufman, that's 80% of the vote. So while it is large in size and it may be very red in the rural territories, there's very few voters there. We need Dallas and Kaufman to get up and vote, and it is absolutely doable. You got about 500,000 votes, and I just need 68,000 of them compared to the 2020 election to flip this seat. So it's very doable. And the number of new registered voters already would pretty much beat that.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Where are your new registered voters? And I know they're in pockets because when you go to Kaufman, you're right, that area is just growing so fast, it's unreal. And then you've got Lake Ray Hubbard, right?
No,
No.
I don't have
Okay.
Lake Ray Hubbard.
Okay.
So it's 4 main cities, and so all of Dallas County, right? That little piece of Dallas County, like I said, Seagoville, Sunnyvale, Mesquite, Garland is huge. So
Yeah.
Garland is number one. Garland, Mesquite, Rowlett, Saxe, Seagoville. That whole territory, that is big. And then it's the 4 main cities of Kaufman. So Terrell, Forney, Kaufman, and Crandall. So Dallas and those 4 cities of Kaufman, get up and vote. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. And I want to show you guys. I'm gonna send you. I don't know if I can do it on here. I'll do a. Let me see if I can do a screen share. Are you guys familiar with Rosie the Riveter?
You
Yeah.
mean that from World War II?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
we
you're
are.
familiar with that, right?
Correct.
So I recreated that picture. I took a picture of me and I recreated that in modern day. So Rosie the Riveter wore a blue shirt and she had a red and white kerchief headband on.
Yeah, she
So
did.
I wore a white shirt for women's suffrage
Okay.
and I put an American flag bandana on my head. And on my collar, instead of the emblem that she had, I put a stop sign that says Stop Project 2025.
Wow.
And so I went and I did my arm and I did all of that. And then I had the picture turned.
That really should have been fun. This really should have been fun for you to
I
create
love
that.
that.
And I turned the picture into a drawing also so it could match. So I just got it. So that's gonna be some of my new lit coming out. So I just got the picture, so I gotta do some final things to it, but I did post the picture on social media. So you gotta check it out. I'm hoping that people make the connection because that was when women were invited and needed into the workforce. And as always, we got up and did what we needed to do. And now we're not going back. Oh, and that's my slogan on top: when we fight, we win, which is actually an NAACP saying that has been NAACP for a really long time. So Kamala picked it up and she used it, so that's what's up there now. When we fight, we win.
So what are the concerns in, that's 5 different counties you're in. So what are they talking about? Are they talking about jobs? Are they talking about what is on their minds? And I know there are a lot of women in there because there's a lot of colleges and universities and schools in that area, right?
Well, not that much. There's Trinity Valley, but there's not that much, and that's one of the issues. Like even in Kaufman County, what they don't have their own community college. So what I've seen, there's actually Dallas College has a campus in Forney, a little campus at that opportunity center that's over there. So, what I hear from them, the biggest thing like for Kaufman County, because it is the fastest growing in the country, is infrastructure. They are in dire need of infrastructure. That one little lane with one side in, one side out, that's not going to work. That's already killing them. So, roads and because of that growth, even their water sewer systems, the police, fire, all of that infrastructure. But throughout the district, it's infrastructure, not just roads, but internet access and access to quality medical care. They drive really far to get there, and then they don't feel like it's quality medical care worth getting to, because once they get there, they're like, we go there to die, or we go there to get treated really, really badly. So that's really kind of what's big there. So the housing and things like that are more affordable in this territory, especially once you get outside of Dallas County. But it's close, right? So they're close, and especially Kaufman County, they're close enough to get into Dallas when they need to, but they got the quality of life. So we need to, my focus there would be to help them bring down, because the dollars are there. But what we see in a lot of these rural communities is the local municipalities aren't trying to pull down those available dollars, kind of like a pride thing. Like, I'm not going to use those Biden dollars. I'm not going to do that. And it's also in terms of the internet, kind of like, I think that they kind of want people to be dumb. They don't want people to have access to get facts and information, so that they're only getting what you feed them.
Okay.
Well, I think a couple of things that you pointed out not necessarily on purpose, was number one, just how badly gerrymandered the state of Texas is.
Yeah.
Your district is an example. My district is a ridiculous example. My member of Congress is Ronnie Jackson, Dr. Feelgood.
Dr.
And there are 38 counties going all the way to Dalhart, up there to Colorado. That is I'm in Denton, which is, just north of Dallas. And yet, somehow, Amarillo and Dalhart are in my congressional district.
Amarillo?
Amarillo.
Wow. Well, I'm downtown Dallas. I live inner city. And we are too congested. We did not plan well, and we know that. I know Dallas County has something like 22 or 23 counties. So this is a good conversation, Ruth, because all three of us have different needs in these districts. Of course, I think I want Colin Aria to win his district, which is a little bit away from, downtown Dallas. I am all
it comes into Denton County.
It comes into, yes, I saw that just after.
No, but remember, that seat is now Julie Johnson that won in the primary, and it's cut hard Democrat. So that's Julie Johnson in that seat. Colin Allred is running for U.S. Senate to unseat Ted Cruz.
That's right.
So he's statewide. So we and they're neck and neck. I think it's looking good, and we can't take anything for granted. Every vote is going to count. And that's why Abbott was so terrified that he had, all these voters purged. Right? So
yeah, I saw something like it's more than 2 million now.
And our prospectus for Texas for the 2030 census is another 2 million.
Isn't it?
So, we got this crowded bottleneck. It's already a bottleneck. You cannot go anywhere in downtown Dallas today without hitting a traffic jam, even with the freeways. So what are your thoughts about the high-speed rail? How is that going to help your district or hinder your district?
So I love the idea of a high-speed rail. I think we need to do things differently and get less cars on the road, less pollution, faster to get places. We need to have, and that's when I'm looking at Kaufman County and these other areas that are growing. We need to learn from the mistakes of Dallas and make this an opportunity
That's a
to
good
make
point, Ruth.
walkable
That's an excellent, because we have made a lot of mistakes over here.
Well, yeah. So where and how we build highways, so that we're not cutting off communities, especially separating communities of color, and making walkable cities, making protected bike lanes so people can walk and ride bikes or little electrical scooters and safely get from one place to another. Crosswalks that are smart crosswalks, because we have way too many pedestrians getting killed and so few sidewalks. We have really bad sidewalks. So if you're in a wheelchair and a walker or anything like that, you're not going to get through these. I was in downtown walking in heels on my feet and nearly broke my neck.
Not in downtown Dallas. Your shoes are messed up for life. I can assure you.
Yeah.
So,
well, and
we need to build smart. We need to build smart and think with the long term in mind. And we need to think, hey, you know what? We're going to need an airport in Kaufman. We're going to, between Kaufman and Henderson, we need to think long term, because DFW, we have Love Field. Now we're gonna need to flex. We're gonna need to start developing. We need to think 50 and 100 years out, and think about the surrounding neighborhoods and what did we learn from the DFW expansion and the Love Field expansion, so we build smart.
Well, speaking of that, the last time that I heard somebody talking about high-speed rail coming to North Texas was Tribune Fest 2014.
Really?
So
No,
exactly
I heard
10
it.
years
I
ago.
heard it a couple of years ago. I went to and it was actually D Magazine. What was the guy's name? The editor, whatever, from D Magazine was really pushing all kinds of things. Hey, let's sell DFW Airport, which I agree. I liked a lot of the things he had to say. But I went to events there I went to events that he was having, and I went to events that the transportation Department of Transportation and stuff was happening. That I went, so I like high speed. I think we need to learn from the mistakes of where other things have failed.
So what I was getting at was at Tribune Fest, it was Dallas County Judge Clay Jenkins.
Oh, okay.
Was speaking on behalf of, we were going to get light rail, we were going to get high-speed rail going between Houston and Dallas. A lot of people don't know. If you don't live in Texas, or even if you do, a lot of people in Texas don't realize there is no Amtrak line that goes between Houston and Dallas. That seems a little crazy.
No, they don't realize that. And then we also don't realize, Amy, that the high-speed rail is not a new toy. It's been in Europe for 50 years. And if America is going to continue to proclaim that we are this powerful, wonderful nation, which we are so far behind technology-wise with the rest of the world. I mean, high-speed rail, Russia has high-speed rail in some of their mountainous countries. China has it. And then this great state of Texas doesn't have one. So that's one. And then the second one is going to Austin. There are 3 that are planned. Mm-hmm. But we want our audiences to know this is not a new toy for the world. Right. That whatever you want to call it. Some places call it light rail, high-speed rail, and it is high-speed.
Light rail, DART is light rail.
Yes.
High-speed rail is a different thing.
It's faster.
It's faster. And
right.
You should, what I was hearing back in 2014, it distressed me. I was all excited. It was like, oh, it's coming. And then, here we are 10 years later. It's still not here.
Well, we have a lot of laws over here that prevent us from just moving and taking on. Now, it's in the news all of the time with the contractors. Mm-hmm. There's the regional Black contractors, the regional Hispanic contractors. They are all aware of it. And the negotiations have gone a little bit slower because Ruth is probably familiar with this. I don't know what legislation is going to do about it because we have all this private land in Texas. Acres, 10,000 acres belonging to one person. And it has been for the last 100 years or 200 years. But regulating it is where Ruth does come in because it's going to require this vote is only one vote. This election is one election. But how many elections, Ruth, do you anticipate it taking for us to get this thing on the ground, as Amy is talking about, and getting it up and running? Because right now, Dallas is arguing about where the hubs are. We haven't.
So what we need everybody to get up and vote.
Yes.
And because this needs to be a joint operation between federal, state, and local.
Exactly.
And everybody's going to have to be on the same page. So you know what that's going to mean? That's going to mean this election right now that we elect a whole bunch of Democrats we need the White House and we need both House and Senate of Congress.
Right. And young minds. Don't leave out the young minds.
Well, and the other thing that what we're discussing pulls in is the importance of all those down ballot races. So many people go in and they vote every 4 years for president.
Right.
And then they leave. And one of the things you were talking about, those local officials, they don't want to take any of that Biden money. Well, that's pointing to the fact that what we need is Democrats on city council, Democrats on school board, locally, so that we can stop these moms for liberties crazies who, for some reason, think that it is more important to get any, books that might have anything salacious in them off of the books, off of the shelves of the libraries and the public schools, and all those books you and I, the 3 of us, were all required to read
Yes.
that they want to pull. And then, that's important. Oh, can't have any trans people go into, a trans woman go into the women's bathroom. Have you ever, when you go in the bathroom, women's restrooms, we go in the stall and close the door.
True.
We don't.
It's not an open house.
It's not like in the men's bathroom. There is no wall of urinals. No, so we don't care what you've got behind those closed doors. Honestly, not important. But you know what is important? Doing something about the guns.
Oh.
Okay, we're switching big subjects here. I just want to take a minute to point out something. And I think that, I think a great deal of America is really done with all the partisanship division. Mm-hmm. And that is, we're not getting anything done. Listen, I don't care what people's party is. You can hold on to your party all you want to, right? But the Republican Party, it's not the party of Lincoln anymore. It ain't even the party of Bush anymore, okay?
It's the party of Cheney.
It's not a party at all, ladies. It's not a party. It is a group of people that are just being obstinate about the times they used to live in. Because even our schools are integrated. Even if you go to a meeting, a city council meeting, it's integrated. It's not all white men. It's everybody. It's Indian women in their fashion dress. It is the farmer. It's everybody. And we refuse to acknowledge what it is. Mm-hmm. We want to live in this past tense world.
That's true.
And that's what I'm rooting for Colin already, because that image is what we are really needing. We love football down here. We love all of the sports. So let's get somebody in. And he's married. He has children that are mixed. He's married to a white lady. Everybody's happy. Everybody's doing well. That's what America is today. So you have to accept, if you like this candidate, then you got a wife and children that are part of the American terrain. So it can't be one person. And the party, there is no party. I don't even know why we continue to talk about a party, because they're just renegades, like the people were when we discovered this land. I want to take it back. They're not organized. They don't have any policies. And that's the one thing we need to have people to understand. We want people like Ruth that have a policy and a plan and how to get it implemented.
And Ruth, I just want to point out to people who were friends of yours, the footsteps that you would be following in as a woman of color from Texas.
That's right.
In U.S. Congress. Esther?
We want to talk about the great Texas lady. We want to talk about Eddie Bernice Johnson. We want to talk about who because I hear you. You know what? We've lost some really powerful
women.
Women, and it happened back to back. And so these are some really big shoes to fill. And you know what? It's time. We gotta stand up. We have to be inspired, and we gotta do what we need to do. And I there's so much work to be done. There's just so much work to be done, and I'm excited to do it. We're gonna win this November 5th and November 6th. I already have some draft bills. And that's what I'll be doing on November 6th is pulling out my draft bills, and I want to get with the community and say, hey, what bills do you want? Let's work on that right now. Let's get that ready so that I'm sworn in and I'm saying, here, tell me the process. How do I get here? Here's all the ideas that I've got. Let's go. Because we're going to go from having the least productive congressional session to the most productive congressional session. And it's not what
Democrats in charge.
Yeah.
Stuff happens.
Yes, and the women in charge.
So
we're going to get it done.
With Nancy Pelosi's ability to control, because you got to admit, Democrats are like herding cats. There are so many of us with from so many different backgrounds.
We're cat ladies.
But somehow, not only did Nancy Pelosi managed to herd those cats in a way nobody else could. But then Hakeem Jeffries has taken over and taken the reins and been just as good.
And these people coalesce with each other after hours, not in front of the cameras. We need more conversations behind doors. We don't all need to be in front of a camera, because I think that the media, the mainstream media, is part of the problem. Mm-hmm. Because all of a sudden in the Walter Cronkite days, it was news, it was facts. Now it's opinions. Mm-hmm. Well, we're not interested in your opinion. Just what does the constituent, like Ruth is talking about what her constituency wants. Mm-hmm. And that's what we only need to talk about. Mm-hmm. I mean, so if you have, and the arguments and the backbiting, that's not even American. We're such a civilized country. We really are.
I gotta say, like to believe that. I was kind of sad about the way after the debate that the Democratic Party treated President Biden for those 3 weeks before he stepped down. That too much of that happened in front of the cameras, and it right,
and we don't have people in front of the cameras. It's important that we also understand behind the camera of the major media, there's 3 levels of leadership, 3 levels of bosses. So before that anchor gets on the set, that teleprompter is constantly making changes. And I've been an anchor for a major media organization, and they have so much to do and look cute and do this and do that. But I think it's important that all of our legislators have meetings where there are no cameras. And that is not a sin. That is not what we want. You've got a few people, but you can't even digest everything that goes on in a congressional meeting.
Oh, no.
No, I mean, appropriations, what is that? Yeah, all the committees. So let them take care of their jobs. Mm-hmm. And then your job is to fine tune what you want in your community and move on. But we don't care about, it's a new issue because children, even the transsexual children, they're going to change their mind in the next 2 years. Tattoos are a nuisance, but they're very, very popular. But now all of a sudden I get to be 30 and I don't want the tattoo any longer. Uh-huh. So you have it removed. Mm-hmm. But the legislators putting people in office that care only about their constituency. Mm-hmm. That is, and we have gotten so bad. It's this talking about bleach blondes and eyebrows. Give me a break.
I want to make sure that what I'm focused on, my commitment is to serve the best interests of Congressional District 5. And right. What do they want? What do they need? And so that means needing to work with whoever is elected to the local government. Mm-hmm. And so I don't care what your political party is. I'm focused on what do you want to do for your constituents? Do you really care about your constituents, or do you care about your party more? Do you care about getting things done? Do you care? You care what people are going through? Because if that's what you care about, I'm here to work with you.
Well, Ruth, I think your timing is perfect because we're tired of the argument. That has been said before. Can we just please get down to business and get some people in office that know how to take care of business? You go into a room, you go into a conference room to say, how are you doing? I'm here to work with you, and let's serve our people, period.
But this has to be our common goal. Are we all on board with this common goal? Because if we have that common goal, that's what we need to focus on. I don't care if you like me, hate me, it ain't personal. Let's be focused on this common goal because that's what matters, is the best interest of these people. And so that's what I'm focused on, and I'm willing to work with whoever I need to make that happen. We are not going to change things overnight. But you asked me how many elections it's going to take. It's going to take this November, and it's going to take next November. Because right now we can flip a whole lot of seats right now. But in 2 years, we need to unseat Abbott and Ken Paxton and Dan Patrick. The 3 stooges is what I call, the 3 stooges all need to go.
That's a perfect name.
And so they're corrupt. They don't care about Texas.
Twitter calls Ken Paxton evil Popeye.
Evil Popeye. But I want your thoughts on, I'm just curious, Mr. Trump has already announced that if he does not win, there is going to be chaos. Now, and people are prepared for that. So, if the race on day one, how much business are you and the country going to get done? I mean, your honest opinion about that, because it's going to be. Do you think there's going to be a disagreement on day one of after the election, or what do you think? Is it going to operate smoothly, or is the former president going to cause a stir? That's a good word.
Think he,
I did that well, didn't I?
Is there going to be a repeat of January 6th?
Yes, exactly.
On January 6th.
Right.
I don't think it's going to be. I don't think that it's going to be as significant, and I'm going to tell you why. Because there's a bunch of people that went to jail already. Okay, and so you know, I think that there's still plenty of people who are brainwashed, who believe this stuff, and I've got a family member. Let me tell you, it's pretty amazing. I haven't had an aneurysm, okay, because it's difficult for me, right? But you know, I have to try and respect people's views and people's perspectives, no matter what. But at the end of the day, it's like, hey, do you want to go and have a repeat? Do you want to be one of those people that's locked up because there was no pardons? There's not going to be no pardons. It's not going to happen. This is going to be a real consequence for you. So I think that we're going to see people that who maybe would have liked, were interested, would have done it, said, you know what, probably not. Let me hold back. Now, there will be some people that will, but I don't think it's going to be as much as it was. And I think we need to make clear. What we need to be making clear is that the next transfer of power, we're going to have plenty of show of force there. And they're going to, all of those officers protecting our capital, they need to have, explicit direction to say, hey, you have authorization for lethal use of power if that's necessary. You don't wait for them to come up to your door. When they start hitting that step, you better start acting. Give them a warning shot, and after that, you're not playing. But once you start doing that, people are like, you know what? It ain't gonna be a repeat of what happened on January 6th ever again. And that's what we need to do. We need to be prepared for that, and we need to be having a purge of our National Guard, any of our forces that have people in there that have gotten confused and forgot that their oath is to country. We need to deal with that. So okay, let me turn on
another subject, because I think part of our right now, part of our nation cannot read. If we can't read, we can't comprehend. We don't know what the Constitution says. How can we get our young children? Should children go to school at 3 years old? And can we please? What is your position on putting prayer back into the schools? Putting
Can I stop you right there?
Yes.
We're not going to talk about prayer in the school
okay.
Because I am Jewish and it's not my prayer, and I really
respect
I
that
am
opinion.
Strongly for the separation of church and state.
But we have another issue. We don't even know our state history. We don't know national history. We're not familiar with the Constitution. Mm-hmm. Now, that's for all religions, mm-hmm. because we should definitely know what we have in this country that is makes up democracy. Mm-hmm. But we don't have history in schools any longer. I mean, we got an obese nation of people, but we also have an obese nation of students. Mm-hmm. We've got 15-year-olds taking insulin. So what can we do with our educational system?
There's a lot of work that needs to be done in our education system. And I am, we jump into Project 2025 and vouchers that Abbott wants to do, which that is really a $1 trillion public land grab for Dallas County, and probably at least $1 billion land grab, even in the rural counties. You know, that's what it's about. It's about the land, because you want to take public dollars to pay private institutions and pay for it. That's private land. So you're taking away the infrastructure of a public school system, and then you won't be able to put that back together again. It'll be Humpty Dumpty, and you can't put it back together again, because that land will be gone, and you won't have the money to come back and rebuy it, because the price will be out of reach. So, that's what it's about. It's about destroying that infrastructure and taking that land and resegregating us. And so there's a lot of work that needs to be done on our education system so that our children are receiving the education they need, that are safe in their space. Because when our kids go to school, we want them to come back in one piece. the way they left. They need to come back. There's what we teach them, how we teach them, so that I remember when I was in school and you want me to learn, formulas and parenthetic statements, and I'm like, why? How am I ever going to use that? We have to help these kids to understand why they need it. And so, I don't know, you probably don't know this. I was a 10th grade dropout. Trying to survive. I was already 16, living on my own. So I did not see the point of school. I said,
okay, Ruth, come on. Is it up to what sense does a 16-year-old have? Why can't we get parenting? And I know that's another big thing we need to talk about. But you can't do anything with a child when there are parents around. This incident we just had with the man, they did sentence the father and the 14-year-old with the gun. But how do we handle adults that won't grow up? Why would you buy a 14-year-old a rifle, a high-powered
AR-15,
an AR-15 for a present at 14?
After the FBI,
they already posted.
Yes.
Now, you know what? I am glad about the Georgia. I'm glad that the arrest has happened, just like the previous one.
Yes.
We need to make a change here, and we need to eliminate the protections for the gun industry. Mm-hmm. We need to do that, and that is going to be one of the agenda items that I have. This protection that you cannot sue the industry. No, every other industry, we are a suing nation. We sue everybody for everything.
Yes,
you may not know one word of English except lawyer. You may not know one word of Spanish, but abogado. We are a suing nation, and we sue for everything, but you can't sue the industry. No, we're going to change that because that's what it's going to take. But not only that, I would say to our neighboring countries, right? If we look at South America and we say a lot of the issues that are triggering immigration, we got the issues with immigration. We are the nation with a drug demand that they're supplying, and because of that drug industry, they want guns, and they have a demand for guns, and we're the supplier, and that's created an environment that sends people to come over here to us. And we're the ones, we got to all take ownership, our part of that.
Well,
if I was those countries, I would be suing the gun manufacturers. Just because that's our law that prevents you, that doesn't mean it has to be your law. Well, so that's what I would say to those countries. Hey,
on that subject, and this, at some point we need to get to the things we're going to talk about that I put in the title of this video. But I'm a big fan of Texas Paul Schroeder. He's got his own YouTube channel. Everybody watch it. It's worth it. He talked about a couple of months ago. He said, be ready. The Russians Putin has been paying for these caravans.
Yes.
And those caravans always show up right before an election. And they're always trying to get in just before the election. Right. And it's always
it's all political theater. They're using people for political
this is Putin's propaganda.
And we already know it's here because it's already surfacing. It's part of the broadcast, international broadcast today. But then why can't we stop guns from being sold? We can. Everything that we want can be done. It's just that we don't have the guts or the balls to get it done because we want to keep that NRA money.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, what is going to have a bigger impact? Keeping guns out of school or putting the 10 Commandments in school?
Both. Because
you don't need the 10 Commandments in school. That is a religious symbol.
Leave that out. Leave the 10 Commandments out. But at least our issue is kids with guns. Let's not lose the focus here. The focus is on guns in the hands of children at homes, American homes. Mm-hmm. They're not militia. They're not people from other countries. The guns are in the homes, and the kids are getting to the guns and causing havoc. Now, that's going to only mushroom unless we make a pivotal spot or until they kill somebody very important.
You know what? One of the things that made me so mad, because, we're all in Texas. And so we all know lots of gun owners on both sides of the aisle.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right?
Right.
My ex-husband had an arsenal. And one of the things that happened not too long after Newtown was that the chair of the Denton County Democratic Party at the time, I don't know if he was chair then, he might have stepped down by that point. Mm-hmm. But former chair anyway, started a Denton County Democratic Party gun club, and he had this event at a shooting range, and there was a discount for children, and
a discount for children.
I hit the roof. I am sorry. What is going on with you that you think you need to put guns in the hands of children?
Until
and that's on our side.
That's on our side until the children are dead, and then we want all kind of assistance. We want this. Losing a child is tough any way you want to slice it, but when that child has an opportunity to be killed on the way to school,
right?
That's another whole side of the world, because somebody just wants to shoot. Why can't we go to a certain place? But Texas is only 10 or 15% occupied. Texas is only 10 or 15%. Just carve out 100 acres and everybody goes over there and have shooting games. But there's something that can be done, Ruth.
I mean, Australia doesn't have this problem anymore.
That's true.
Great Britain doesn't have this problem anymore. New Zealand doesn't have this problem. These countries they had a mass shooting, and then they did something about it.
We have mass shooting after mass shooting after mass shooting after mass, and every time we say no more, and nothing changes. And that is not that. We have to make the change, and we need people to care about it enough to get up and vote. And we can have policy that says, hey, we can respect and protect Second Amendment rights, but we shouldn't be protecting gun rights more than we protect the lives of our children.
Exactly.
So we need to have a balanced approach.
That is absolutely the point. Yes. We could even do, and this is something great for legislators like yourself, we could even do a moratorium on guns. We have laws in this country. Just stop it and say, do a 6-month moratorium. No guns, no this, no that. Everybody, take them up. We can recall all the guns. We have the ability to make a change.
And you know what I see? You know what? I try to find, anytime I'm looking at an issue, I try to look at different perspectives, right? And try to walk a mile in the shoe of people and understand, the culture and perspectives and all these things. And so what I'm thinking may be a reasonable middle ground, like a balanced approach on this issue, is, how with our driver's license, we have different levels. If you're riding a motorcycle, if you're riding a normal car or an 18-wheeler, you have different levels of licensure.
Right.
And I think we need to look at that in terms of weapons and having different levels of licensure and different requirements. If and requiring insurance, requiring training, requiring annual mental health checkups, depending on what you have. It's like, okay, you want to be grandfathered into this? This is the criteria. This is what you need to do. And we can work out something that is reasonable and that the intent is to make sure that if people with mental health issues don't have access to guns, people with criminal records, people who, are at high risk to hurt themselves or others. We have a lot of our military people We have a military. You see the people that are serving under this Lone Star thing that Abbott has at the border, and the things that they're seeing and they're going through, and they're we can do things that show that we value life, that we're really pro-life, like the real pro-life, like we really want you to live because you're already alive. We want to keep you alive. Yes, we can do that.
But I want you to think about something. I want you to think about something, Ruth. We're past reasonable. We are out of control. Mm-hmm. I think there's one solution, and that one solution is stop selling the high-powered rifles. Yeah. Just stop selling. We have done that with cars before. We have done
right. No, I agree.
Things because we are beyond reasonable, doing part for this sector and part for that. How many people have to get killed? And it's going to be another one. We got football season coming. Well, it's going to continue.
To your point.
Football season, you got the holidays. You know how many shootings happened at the holidays?
Yeah. So Winder, Georgia, that happened when? On Wednesday of last week.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Do you know what happened on Monday of last week that got not one moment of airtime? There were six mass shootings on Labor Day.
They have become so commonplace, they don't even cover them any longer.
Yeah. We're desensitized to it.
That's my point. So just take them off the market. Mm-hmm. Stop selling them. Whatever the NRA is going to do, they can sign an executive order today, tomorrow. Stop selling them. I tell you what, if we can ground a plane, they take planes out of the sky when there's an issue. The issue we have now with Boeing, they just took the planes down. They don't fly them any longer. We have had other things.
Of course, Boeing's got a satellite,
a thing in space right now. It's just it's a shame to say this, but we got too much money with people that have no sense.
Yeah,
and it's killing other kids. Mm-hmm. I'm concerned about the children. Now, if you want to go hunting and keep your gun, then every household has to have it locked up, or the FBI will come in and
it has to be safe.
You have to be safe. That's right. You got to have it safe and locked up. Mm-hmm. Because right now there's only so much wattage. In my house, we had 120 watts or whatever standard goes into a house. So my husband decided this is not going to work. We got computers, we got 2 kids, we got a couple of dogs. So we put in another set of wattage in the house, but it was a law on that. We couldn't put it in the house. It had to go outside the house and be locked up, and this and this and this. We have done this before with things. Stop selling them.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's so many out there already. That is part of the problem.
But if you stop the bullets, you stop the guns, you stop the bullets.
Yeah. But see, we've gone the other direction in Texas. We're now selling bullets. We're almost out of time. I can't believe it. We haven't covered any of the things we were going to talk about that I put.
We got another show. So why don't you come on my show and we'll talk about the other thing we were going to talk about.
Yeah. So, ladies, I just want you to know that I have a hard stop here in a few minutes because I have an interview with
Well, this show has a hard stop in a few minutes as well. So I did want to get to at least because of your legal background. None of us are attorneys, but Esther and Ruth have some legal background and knowledge.
I've been a paralegal for 30-some years.
Yeah.
And the laws have changed. That's why I know we can change laws. We have to change laws on where houses can be built, what surfaces we drive on. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've changed a lot of laws.
So the thing that I wanted to get a little bit to was there was a lot happening in the Trump trials last week.
Oh my gosh. That's another hour show, Amy.
I know. But we don't have an hour. We've only got a couple minutes. But let's talk about what they call the hush money case, which was a falsifying business records case.
Which one is that?
That's the felonies, the 34 felonies.
Oh.
It was supposed
That's the Mershon case.
Judge Mershon was supposed to give the sentence on my birthday, September 18th, but it got moved
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Well, no, we're ahead of it. Oh, it's next week.
Next week, yeah. You know what we're getting for my birthday?
What?
Solar. My husband's an engineer. Understand? He's an engineer. And so he has spreadsheets. He's taken bids from all over the place. He's comparing. He has got it down. He knows, and researched all the different brands and all the different parts and whether to have a battery and all that. So that's what I'm getting. But back to the Trump trials. All right, Judge Chutkan. There was something that came down with Judge Chutkan. Can either of you speak to that?
No, because I know that they are, I call it another filibuster, because he's simply trying to move everything and delay everything to pass the election. Because if you do something like that, you have a massive plan in place for winning.
Mm-hmm.
For winning. Not going the system, not waiting until the results comes in. Winning, period. Mm-hmm. And we don't know what is it, bombing some of the stations? We need to no, I mean it sounds horrible, but it is possible because you have these battleground states. We have identified where all of the votes are. He doesn't plan to lose, ladies.
Well, he can't. He's desperate. He's desperate because he knows he's going to jail. That's what all of this is about. That's what he's like, oh, the country's going to hell. This is horrible. And he's doing it because that is his only hope, because he knows he's going to jail. He's got too much. All of his lifetime of privilege is coming down. And so that's what it is. And you know what? Judge Chutkan says, I'm going to treat him like every other person that comes through my courtroom. He's not going to get privilege here. I don't care who he is. I don't care about this election. It's irrelevant to me, and we're going to move forward. And that's why he's doing everything he can to delay everything, because if he gets elected, he can throw out everything, all the federal cases, and they'll never happen again anyway. And he'll never leave the seat because he wants to eliminate the Department of Justice.
And the Department of Education. But Ruth, the issue is,
EPA.
You're right, we'll never have this issue again. But the reason we're having an issue this moment, we have no laws for what has happened with Mr. Trump. We did not put in place not one safeguard for a crooked president. So we're just playing it as we go, and the judges don't even know what to do.
No, let me tell you.
He has more of an audience than the judges do. He has a loyal following of money makers, people he has scammed over the years, people that he has scammed, et cetera, et cetera. But our main problem is we don't have any laws. We have nothing to stand on. But
no, you know what? I disagree with that. And here's the problem. The problem is that the founders thought that Congress would hold them accountable with impeachment.
Right. I agree with that.
And we didn't, because there was too many people in Congress who were just as involved. So if you're involved in the whole thing, you're not going to remove yourself or remove your leader of that. And so this is the problem that we have, is that now when you have members of Congress who join in that conspiracy, and that's the problem with the immunity ruling from the Supreme Court. It's a circular reasoning to say, hey, the Congress can remove people if they want to enforce this. They're the ones with the authority. But if you're that's like saying criminals need a jury of their peers. So we should take those who've already been convicted are in jail, and they'll be the jury for this new person who's on trial for a crime. That's a ridiculous reading of jury of your peers, and that's exactly what the Supreme Court did with that immunity ruling.
And the Supreme Court did not have any laws to deal with a crooked president or to deal with him being unreasonable and unfair to the people. His job is to take care of the people, and he did not do that. Even today, I don't understand why he has this following, because he never talks about one policy. He never explains.
It's because he says things that people. it's at its core, it's about racism. And I let's be reminded that we had Hitler had lots of supporters too, and there was people who thought that they were going to benefit and profit from the murder of others, and they thought they were safe until too late they realized that they were wrong. And this is what we have. We have people who agree with the most horrible inclinations, the most horrible things about women, about minorities, about anybody that's not like them because of their own fear and their own insecurities. Mm-hmm. So that's why. But you know what? We have a change coming, and there's enough. I think this is a time for great change, mm-hmm. and this is what we have to get people to do, is to get up and vote. Ladies, I've got to go, but I appreciate you.
Actually, Amy has to go.
So, one last time, Ruth, how do we find you?
I am on, my website is truthincongress.com, and I'm on all the social media platforms. Truth in Congress is usually my handle, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, all of that. So please check me out. I appreciate you. Have a great day.
Thank you. Good luck in November.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Well, that's all we have time for today. We are out of time. We didn't get to half the things I wanted to, but I
suggest you come on to Ester Davis show and we'll finish talking about it.
All right, let's do that.
That's a date.
So I'll see you if you're watching on Fishbowl. I'll see you then. If you're watching on YouTube, tune in to the Ester Davis show. And we'll see you there. As I remind you every week, get registered.
Yes.
Get informed. Get politically active. And go vote. And if you don't have anything